Hi there, this is Paul Thompson. I'm going to show you today our new Flute Consort Vol.1 library. This is the first release in our BML Woodwinds series, and we have the library has two sections. It has the flutes à two, so it has a pair of flutes playing unison, and then it has a third player playing solo. So you can combine these to get your standard kind of three-person section as well, but you've got those two different flavors of an ensemble flute section and the solo section. So we've got the usual controls. You'll see that we've added a kind of simplified front page to the UI. So you've got your basic kind of dynamics here, the vibrato control, speed control for the legato interval speed, and then the expression control, which is your kind of overall volume. If you want to go back into the detailed view, simply click the spanner, and but you can keep that one up, and this also has all of the usual ways to relearn MIDI CC if you want to change the defaults for any of these. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little bit with the legato. So here we go. So you hear there I'm kind of moving around within the dynamics and vibrato. If we're using this in the least laggy way at the moment, which is playing using the speed control at kind of full. But if I pull that right down, you'll hear more of the transition, as with our other libraries, and that has a very different sound. It's slightly more realistic, but it's slightly laggier to play, and that sounds like this. So you can hear that where I play more heavily on the keyboard, it switches automatically to the détaché articulation. And with the speed control right down, you probably would have it somewhere in between those two positions. That's quite extreme, but you hear a real separation between the notes. And that's CC controllable here. So you can use that to give yourself more or less of the actual transition sound within the notes. So let's have a quick look at the longs. So again, we've got our dynamics and vibrato control here. So if we start nice and soft with PP. Non-vib. So you can hear it's very responsive to dynamic and vibrato. We've got the hollow sound, which is a different kind of blowing technique. Which gives you that wonderful, haunting, very brittle, fragile sound. We've got harmonics. And again, you can pull the dynamics around with that. No vibrato control on that. We've got our flutter tongue. And with this one, we have dynamic control. And then we've got our three different types of shorts. There's a staccatissimo. And within the detailed view here, you can see that we have short articulation release triggers. Now, if we I'll turn that off momentarily, and I'll play you the samples. So the samples will simply play to the end now. So that's the staccatissimo. We have a tenuto. As you can hear, that's slightly longer, and then a full marcato. But if we put the release triggers back on, we can play that. So you've got a lot of control there over how you use these three different articulations. We've also got a variety of things like our marcato sforzando. which is a great useful one. We've got overblown shorts, slightly different. And then we've got our multi-tongues. And again, we use the dynamic controller to flick between double tongue, triple tongue, quadruple tongue. So I'm going to turn off the short articulation release triggers because that's going to confuse the issue slightly here. And let's play the double tongue. So if I play softly first, so you hear the normal end. And then if I play harder, you'll hear the accented end. And if we go to triple tongue, and then harder end, and then quadruple, and harder. So really incredibly useful those are. Very, very hard to mock up that kind of thing properly, and it just sounds better when you've recorded it. Trills, we've got our minor second trills. We've done the same thing as before. If you play softly, you get the full attack. If you play harder, you get it cuts in slightly to the start of the sample. So you can hear the difference there. Da, 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 and then da, da, da. So that's the minor and the major. And again here, soft and harder. So a much more instant, quite useful for if you're playing it as a sequence of notes. You can play the first one softly, and then the subsequent ones harder to get that faster trill start. So that's the flutes à two. Let's look at the solo flute. And I'm going to set up the same kind of mix. I'll go through and just do a quick demo of the individual mics after. We'll load up all of the sounds as before, and you'll see that there are a couple of articulations that are in the A2s that are not in the solo flutes in this library, but we'll see those as we come through and get to them. So just wait for that to finish loading, and then we will start with our legato. Again, we've got the same controls here, vibrato and dynamics. We have also the same legato switch. You'll see the little white arrow means we're using the articulation switcher here. So this is moving between the legato and the progressive legato in this case. So I'll show you how that works and what they sound like. We'll leave the speed slider up at the top for this demonstration. So here's the basic sound. So you can hear what's happening here is when I play softly, I'm playing the normal legato, which has a fairly instant vibrato on set after the change of the note. But when we go to when we play harder for the transition, we get a progressive legato, which gives more of a delay before the onset of vibrato. And this is really, really lovely, very useful because it gives you a lot more expressive control over your performance. And you can hear that slightly more easily if we reduce some of the ambience. We'll play mainly with the outriggers to get that slightly wider tree sound and the ambient mics, and then we get this kind of sound. Let's turn the overall volume up. A little bit quieter with the solo flute. So that gives you a demonstration of how the different types of legato work in the library. Go back to our same mix so that you can hear the comparison between the longs for the solo. Okay, so we have the usual dynamic and vibrato control here, and we have our speed control. I'm going to leave that set up to the top so that you just hear a straightforward comparison as before with these. And I'll just play. So this is what it sounds like, solo flute. Now you can hear what I'm doing there. I'm playing more softly for the normal legato transition and playing harder to get the progressive legato transition, which gives you a much more of an onset before, of a delay before the onset of vibrato. It gives you a lot of control over the expressiveness of your performance. So it's a lovely expressive instrument to play this. I'll quickly flick through the longs. And we've got, of course, a vibrato control if we pull that down slowly. There are actually 3 levels of vibrato. There's the non-vib down in this region. You smoothly crossfade into normal vib and then into a molto vib. So that gives you a great amount of control there. We've got the same hollow longs. And that's particularly nice with the solo flute as well. We've got our harmonics. And then we've got our flutter. And then we go to the staccattissimos. I'm going to again turn, it's off on this patch. I'm going to leave the release triggers off so you hear the full samples. Very dynamic, very responsive to the keyboard. Tenuto. And our marcatos. And as you get louder with the solo flute marcato, you get a little bit of vibrato added in there, which we thought was a really nice touch. Marcato sforzando. And then our multi-tongue, again, same theory as before with the double tongue at the bottom here of the mod wheel. And then play harder to get the accented end. And then with the triple tongue. And again harder at the end. And then quad tongue. Oops, sorry, my playing. And then harder for the end. So you can hear those work really lovely as well on their own. And the trills. And again here, you get if you hit the key harder, you get a much quicker transition into the trill. We'll hear the major second. And again, hit it harder. So you can hear the difference there. So that's the solo flute. So that is pretty much everything that I've shown you with the Flute Consort Vol.1 library. It's very full featured. I'll give you a quick blast through the solo mics. We'll do this with the staccatissimo. So if we turn these 3 mics off, so the close mic sounds like this. And again, you've got that's mixed so that it appears in position, but you can collapse that and put it into the center or wherever you wish in the hall for the close mic. We've also got the Decatree, sounds like this. And then we've got our ambient mics, more distant. And then we've got the outriggers, the slightly wider aspect for the tree. So that's your different mic selections. We've got with the new BML code base from this product onwards. In fact, from the first one came out with it's the Hans Zimmer percussion. We've added the velocity scaling, so you can alter this to match your playing style in your keyboard. There's a couple of other nice things under here. You've got that's the stereo width for the close mics, and then we've got per mic articulation. Mixing per articulation, mic mixing, sorry, wrong way around. So you can set a different balance per articulation on here and have slightly wetter sound, for example, for the longs than you do for the shorts or something like that. And you can copy those mix settings between different patches, or you can save them as preset files. So that gives you the overview of the kind of basic controls, and then the usual controls in here. We've got the short articulation RTs, as I mentioned earlier, and everything else you should recognize. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. We're very pleased with this. It's a great little library. It's pretty comprehensive for your flute needs. Very, very expressive and beautiful sound. And with the mic mixing here, you can get pretty much any kind of variety of sound in terms of dryness and wetness that you want. You can really rebalance that and get the exact sound that you want there. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.